So today we are going to completely demystify the complex world of finance by tracing its historical roots. From ancient farmers trading their livestock, all the way up to modern computer networks validating digital tokens, the story of money is literally the story of human civilization itself. Let's get right into it.
Here is the roadmap for our explainer today. 1. From barter to bullion. 2. The invention of coinage. 3. Paper money and banking. 4. Gold standards and fiat. And 5. The digital money frontier.
Now, our entire historical journey today is grounded directly in comprehensive academic records. We'll be extracting key insights from some truly foundational texts, primarily Glenn Davis's monumental work, A History of Money, along with deep economic analyses of historical currency systems.
Section 1. From Barter to Bullion. Solving the problem of trading oxen.
Okay, to truly understand money, we have to look at the very first major leap in financial tech, which was replacing those super cumbersome barter systems with precious metals. Picture this. Think about the prizes given out for chariot racing in Homer's ancient epic, the Iliad. Back then, wealth was benchmarked against highly practical things. First prize, a massive copper cauldron. Third prize, a well-fattened ox. But sitting right there in fourth place is 2 talents of gold. Notice that gold wasn't the absolute top prize. It fit into a very specific, practical hierarchy of value.
So, you might be wondering what exactly was a talent. Well, there's this massive historical myth that a talent was always this back-breaking 60-pound weight. But come on, a 60-pound weight of gold would have been worth hundreds of oxen. Instead, the Homeric talent was actually a unit of value. Economists have shown it represented a small amount of gold that held the exact purchasing power of one single ox. It was basically a highly portable standard of value, allowing people to literally carry the equivalent of an ox right in the palm of their hand. How cool is that?
Section 2. The invention of coinage. Making value standardized and portable.
Now, obviously, carrying around small pieces of gold was way easier than driving cattle across the country, but merchants still had to tediously weigh out these irregular lumps of metal for every single transaction. It was a huge hassle. But the technological solution evolved remarkably fast. Way back in 3100 BC, writing was invented in Mesopotamia, quite literally just for bookkeeping livestock. Then, by the 7th century BC, the Lydians started stamping standardized pieces of electrum, which is this natural mix of gold and silver. And shortly after that, around 594 BC, Solon instituted sweeping currency reforms in Athens, creating incredibly complex standardized coinage.
And this brings us to an absolutely vital distinction in economic history. First, we have what's called commodity money. This has a really high fallback value. You see, a gold coin is valuable simply because the gold itself is valuable, even if you melt the whole thing down. Token money, on the other hand, is heavily overvalued. It has almost no physical worth. It relies entirely on a centralized state demanding that people trust and accept it.
Which introduces a truly fascinating concept called seigniorage. Seigniorage is basically the profit made by whoever actually creates the money. It's the exact difference between the face value of a coin and the actual physical cost of the metal inside it. Centralized coinage allowed ancient empires to capture this seigniorage, meaning money creation instantly became a massively powerful new tool for state finance and political control.
Section 3. Paper money and banking. When coins become too heavy to carry.
As global trade massively expanded during the Middle Ages, we hit a new physical limit. Sacks of metal coins simply became way too heavy and, frankly, too dangerous to transport across entire continents. So, different cultures brilliantly innovated their way out of this heavy metal problem. In medieval England, they used split wooden tally sticks to record debts. The Chinese Song dynasty introduced jiaozi, which is widely considered one of the first true paper currencies. And the Mongol Empire completely perfected paper money under Kublai Khan, using incredibly strict authentication ceremonies to stop counterfeiting. Just imagine trying to haul millions of silver coins on a horse, right? It was an absolute logistical nightmare. Instead, a light, crisp piece of paper could hold infinite value. This massive relief fundamentally changed the speed, the safety, and the overall scale of global commerce forever.
But honestly, paper notes were just the start. The Medici family over in Renaissance Italy took these simple paper receipts and transformed them into highly complex banking systems. Later on, the British financial revolution in the 1690s gave birth to the Bank of England. Now, institutions could manage credit, issue loans, and even fund massive national debts. It entirely changed how nations wielded their power.
Section 4.
Gold standards and fiat. The struggle for stability and trust.
So, as paper money became the everyday norm, the central problem of the modern era popped up. How in the world do you maintain public trust when a government can just endlessly print more? Well, the answer lies in an incredible observation made by Marco Polo back in 13th century China. He noticed that people accepted the Grand Khan's paper without hesitation for one simple reason. They knew they could easily trade it for real goods. From an ancient merchant all the way to a modern Wall Street trader, the core engine of literally any fiat currency is unwavering collective belief. Let's track how this played out in the 20th century. First, the severe bank panics of the Great Depression totally shook our faith in financial institutions. To stabilize the globe, the 1944 Bretton Woods system pegged international currencies directly to the US dollar, which was, in turn, pegged to gold. But finally, in 1973, that physical connection was severed entirely. The gold standard officially ended.
And this highlights the stark reality of today's global economy. The intrinsic, physical, material value of our money has dropped from 100% in the ancient world down to essentially 0% today. Public faith has risen to fill that exact gap. The entire global trading system runs purely on the shared collective faith that our fiat currencies will still retain their purchasing power tomorrow.
Section 5. The Digital Money Frontier. A new era of decentralized trust.
In recent years, cryptocurrency and blockchain stepped up, attempting to solve this exact problem of central bank control. The big goal was to replace state-mandated trust with decentralized, absolute mathematical proof. But the data reveals a deeply ironic story. The massive slice of the digital currency market is actually dominated by stablecoins, like Tether or USDC. These are digital tokens explicitly pegged to the value of traditional fiat currencies. So ironically, the most widely used digital currencies today are designed to identically mimic the exact centralized systems they originally set out to replace.
Which leaves us with our modern dilemma. Central banks hold immense centralized power over fiat money. Cryptocurrencies are attempting purely decentralized finance, but they really struggle with massive volatility, and sitting right in the middle, stablecoins act as this heavily utilized bridge. We are basically still out there, actively trying to find the perfect technological balance between stability, trust, and decentralization.
As we tie this entire narrative together, just consider the incredible physical progression of wealth. I mean, we've moved from simple ancient cowrie shells to super heavy gold coins to paper notes, and now to modern plastic cards and digital wallets. The physical form of money is constantly mutating to fit the speed and scale of human commerce. Yet, its fundamental underlying purpose, acting as a reliable medium of exchange, remains completely identical across thousands of years. So, as we have moved from trading heavy oxen, to weighing shiny bullion, to transferring entirely weightless digital data across the globe, is money simply the ultimate measure of our shared human faith? Think about that for a second the next time you look at those digits sitting in your own bank account. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer.